Hey everyone! Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an inspiring story from around the world. Today, we bring you the incredible journey of a man who went from a small neighborhood in Queens to becoming New York City's first Muslim and Indian American mayor. A story of courage, activism, and unshakable hope. His name is Zohran Mamdani, and his rise is more than just politics. It's a movement, a symbol of change, and a story that proves how one voice can transform an entire city. So stay with us till the end, because this is not just the story of a mayor. It's the story of a revolution born from the heart of the people. Let's begin. The rise of Zohran Mamdani from activist to mayor of New York City. In the heart of Queens, New York, a borough built by immigrants, dreamers, and the working class, a young man named Zohran Mamdani began to shape a movement that would one day change the political landscape of the city. From the son of a Ugandan-born scholar and an award-winning Indian filmmaker to becoming New York City's first Muslim and Indian American mayor, his journey represents the intersection of activism, identity, and public service. Early life and roots. Zohran Mamdani was born on October 18, 1991, in Kampala, Uganda, to an extraordinary pair of parents. His father, Mahood Mamdani, is a globally respected political scientist known for his writings on colonialism and African politics. His mother, Mira Nair, is an internationally acclaimed filmmaker, famous for works such as Monsoon Wedding and The Namesake. Although born in Uganda, Zohran's family roots trace back to India, and his early childhood was marked by movement and cultural exchange. When he was around 7 years old, his family moved to New York City, where they settled in Queens. This vibrant, immigrant-filled borough would become the foundation of his identity and political awakening. Growing up, Mamdani was constantly surrounded by discussions about politics, culture, and social justice. His parents' professions encouraged him to see the world not through comfort, but through compassion and curiosity. However, his journey was far from predetermined by privilege. As an immigrant child of color in post-9/11 America, Zohran saw firsthand the discrimination faced by Muslim and immigrant communities. These experiences would deeply influence his views on justice and equality. Education and early activism. Mamdani attended Bowdoin College, a liberal arts institution in Maine, where he studied Africana studies. There, he explored the histories of colonization, racial inequality, and liberation movements, themes that would later inform his political philosophy. During his college years, he also became active in campus organizing, advocating for racial justice and workers' rights. After graduation, rather than heading into academia or the private sector, Mamdani chose to work as a housing counselor in Queens. Day after day, he met families struggling with evictions, rent hikes, and the impossible cost of living. It was in these personal interactions that he realized how disconnected government policies were from people's lived realities. These experiences pushed him toward a radical conclusion. Change could not come from outside the system, it had to come from within it. Entering politics. In 2020, Mamdani ran for the New York State Assembly from District 36, representing Astoria and Long Island City. At that time, few took him seriously. He was young, untested, and openly identified as a democratic socialist, a label that many establishment Democrats viewed with skepticism. But Mamdani's campaign was not built on power. it was built on people. He knocked on doors, listened to renters, spoke at subway stations, and joined protests. His message was simple, yet powerful. Housing is a human right, and justice belongs to everyone. Against the odds, he defeated the incumbent and entered the New York State Assembly as one of the youngest members in the chamber. His victory sent shockwaves through local politics and positioned him alongside figures like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Tiffany Caban as part of a new generation of progressive New Yorkers. Vision and policies. Once in office, Mamdani became a vocal advocate for the working class. His priorities centered on affordable housing, public transit, and economic equity. He pushed for rent freezes during the pandemic, supported taxing the wealthy to fund public programs, and fought for better funding for New York's aging subway system. One of his most notable initiatives was his call for public power, a plan to transition New York's energy grid from private corporations to public ownership. He argued that energy should serve people, not profit. His boldness earned him both admiration and criticism. Supporters saw him as a principled reformer. Opponents called him unrealistic. Still, Mamdani's charisma, honesty, and relentless activism kept him in the public eye. He had a knack for connecting large systemic issues to personal stories, turning policy into something deeply human. The mayoral run. In 2025, Zohran Mamdani made his most ambitious move yet. He announced his candidacy for mayor of New York City. Many saw it as a long shot. His opponents included career politicians, corporate-backed candidates, and establishment Democrats with decades of experience. Yet, Mamdani's campaign tapped into something powerful, a growing sense among ordinary New Yorkers that the city was becoming unlivable. Rents were soaring, homelessness was rising, and working families were being priced out of their neighborhoods. He spoke directly to their frustrations. If New York is only for the wealthy, then it is no longer New York. His platform promised a New York for all, a city where housing, healthcare, and education were rights, not privileges. His campaign emphasized community power, public ownership, and climate justice. His ability to blend activism with empathy made him a magnetic figure, especially among young voters. Social media amplified his message, and grassroots volunteers flooded the streets, handing out flyers, hosting small events, and sharing their stories online. Historic victory. In November 2025, Zohran Mamdani achieved what once seemed impossible. He won the election, becoming the first Muslim and Indian American mayor of New York City. The victory was more than symbolic. It was historic. For millions of immigrants and marginalized communities, Mamdani's success represented hope, proof that someone who looked like them and spoke for them could lead one of the world's most influential cities. As his news of victory spread, celebrations erupted across Queens and beyond. Supporters called it a revolution through ballots. The New York skyline that night seemed to shimmer with renewed optimism. Challenges ahead. Yet even in triumph, Mamdani faces monumental challenges. New York City's complex bureaucracy, entrenched political interests, and housing crisis will test his ideals. Critics question whether his activist-style leadership can translate into pragmatic governance. Business groups warn that his tax reforms could drive away investment, while conservative media labeled him too radical for New York. But Mamdani has remained undeterred. In his victory speech, he declared, "We did not win this city to manage it as it is. We won to reimagine what it can be." Legacy and symbolism. Beyond policy, Zohran Mamdani embodies a generational shift in American politics. He represents a bridge between immigrant identity and civic power, idealism and governance, the local and the global. His story echoes a broader transformation, the rise of leaders shaped not by political dynasties, but by the lived struggles of ordinary people. His tenure will determine whether New York's future leans toward equity and inclusion or back toward the status quo. As he steps into City Hall, one thing is certain. Zohran Mamdani has already made history. And for the young activists watching from Queens rooftops, from mosques, and from community centers across America, he has shown that politics can still be a form of hope.